Well, hello, Tina. Jason here. How are you? Let's take a little bit of time to dive into some of the greatness of who you are that's involved in your personality. Of course, that's not the complete picture of your identity and of your greatness, but it is a part of the greatness of who you are. First of all, when I talk personality, I don't see it as a box that I'm trying to fit you into or that I want you to fit yourself into either. See it as a platform that you can build on, build upon, and just continue to bring your greatness to the world around you. It's not a limiting factor. It's not something that defines you, but rather just gives you a platform to understand yourself and, how you are the best you, what you do the best, and things like that. Secondly, you know, we forget sometimes that because things come so naturally, how valuable they are. And so the way you're wired and the strengths of your personality, they are unique, they are valuable, and they're special, even though they come really naturally to you. And so just be aware that just because it comes easily, just because it comes naturally, doesn't mean that it's not special and unique and different to the way a lot of other people see things. So with that being said, I'm going to share my screen and we'll look at your report here. So you came back as the peacemaker style, the combination of the S and the C, or the terms I like to use for those, the executor and the refiner. So you're this unique combination of, connecting with people, building relationship, that team, family atmosphere and dynamic, as well as an ability to handle, systematic things, facts and figures, to bring excellence and to kind of see the way a process can work and how in any area of life processes would come into play or what would follow each other in a systematic format, which is awesome. And so again, your unique style is amazing, it's awesome, and so own it because it's great. Okay, a couple of the general characteristics: careful, thinking things through, possessive, sensitive. And so possessive in light of you take responsibility, you take ownership, right? And so some styles and the way some people are wired, they just kind of see things and they pass by. You will tend to take ownership of a lot of what you see, what you observe, and that's where the possessive comes into play. Sensitive, you're aware of situations, you're aware of relationships and environments, and we'll see that a little bit later as well. Slow to make changes, predictable, and sometimes that can be seen as negative. You may have heard growing up that could have been put in a negative light for you. But the thing is with that is everywhere you go, you bring stability, you bring security, you bring things that last long term. And so whether it's relationships, whether it's something you're working on, a project, whatever it is, every situation, you're going to bring this stability and security. And so that's where, hey, you're slow to make changes, slower to make changes than some, because you are building things that are secure. You're not changing tomorrow, what you did today and then changing the day after that to something else. No, you're able to bring that long-term stability there. Non-confrontational, internalizes feelings. So you like to create that friendly relational type of situation. You don't prefer to be confrontational. You probably don't prefer confrontation as well. And so again, other people are wired for more straight, strong, confrontational type direct communication. Sometimes they are not doing that to be rude either. That's just the way they're wired. You'll be a little more sensitive to that, but you also, so being aware, sometimes people aren't trying to be a jerk, right? That's just how they just want to be direct and to the point. That's how they're wired. But you're also wired to not bring strong confrontation. You'll be more, keep your feelings and opinions inside. So again, some amazing characteristics. And just, with that predictable or slow to make changes, side, you will always find you have the ability to find the easiest way to do something and the correct way. Those are your two combinations. And so what part of what comes with that, and it's not being lazy, but finding the easiest way to do something is the more it's changed, it's and needs to be figured out every time. That's not the easiest way, right? And so you're bringing the easiest way to the table, and that's why you will try to keep things as stable and not as much change, because that destroys some of the strength that you bring, right, in the easiest way. So Tina as a peacekeeper style is kind in nature and is very detail oriented. So that's awesome. You have this kind, friendly approach to people. You're going to be first people focused, which is going to be your executor, and then you also have the refiner's task focused, right? So some people are all people focused, some people are all task. You have a combination of people focused first, as well as a task focused with the refiner side. And so you're kind, and then you also have this approach to making sure the details are taken care of. Peacemakers are caring about the people around them and possess the qualities that make them very meticulous at task completion. And again, you're building this relational equity, this deep, more connection-based relationships, and you're caring about everyone involved. You're making sure they're taken care of. You're observing what people need, what they're processing, what they're doing. You have an ability to have empathy and connect with people big time, and create a safe place, a friendly space for them, and make them feel heard and seen, which is awesome. And then, of course, meticulous at task completion. And part of your strength is you like to finish what is started. Some people like to have ideas, some people like to start, but you like to make sure things are executed on, hence executor, and finished. And so you have that great ability to bring the task to completion. Tina also likes to look around carefully before making any decisions and weigh how it will affect people. And so you like to take your time in decision making. You probably prefer not to make a lot of decisions, especially for other people or that will impact other people. And when you do, you're looking, how is it going to affect the people around me? How is it going to influence the relationships that I have, whether it's family, friends, coworkers, whatever it is? You are viewing the people first and trying to figure out how it's going to impact them. Tina is loyal to supported leaders and is an excellent person to have on the team. And what another thing, and again, when I say this stuff, it's never to box you in, but hopefully just to give you some understanding and also support you in your amazing style. With that being said, you probably prefer to support people more in the front, leaders as in, I believe you lead in your style as well, but someone who's kind of front and center, maybe the more decisive, directing type leader. You prefer to have more of a background role where you can support the project, support the leader. You're a great team player. You're bringing that team connection. You'll play your part. You'll bring people together to work together and inspire them in that space of kind of friendly teamwork. So that's awesome. Tina wants stability and exhibits stability in relationships, needing a protected and secure environment. And there again, that's because you bring stability and security, and that's what you prefer to operate in as well. So you'll bring stability in relationships, you'll bring stability in things that are being done, projects, tasks, everything. You'll be looking to stabilize, secure, make sure, there aren't loose ends, things that are missed, which is amazing. Peacemakers enjoy people, but prefer a few close friends to many acquaintances. They like small groups rather than crowds. And so some people are wired, for big crowds. Some people can navigate both, but you prefer more of the smaller groups, either the one-on-one or small group. You may find in the past, when there's been an idea of a party, you are thinking 2, 3, 4 of your closest friends, and maybe somebody else is thinking 30, 40, 50 people, and maybe you have that difference. You've noticed that difference there, and that's because you prefer your close group of friends your close group of coworkers, a few people that you are close to and have a deeper relationship. You don't build as much surface relationship, surface communication. No, you're looking to say, hey, let's have this deeper, close friendship relationship going. And so that's where you prefer the smaller groups and crowds. And so you function best one-on-one or small group. That's where you're energized more and inspired. So awesome. Precision is imperative in everything Tina does. Peacemakers can be counted on to carry out any task correctly. And there we go. Like, you're going to be consistent. You'll get it done right. You'll do it well, which is amazing. They want exact facts and figures before they make a decision. And so as you're deciding, you're going to want information. And so don't feel bad about that. Asking for more details, asking for some clarity, knowing, some facts and figures, and then having time to process that and decide is going to be best for you. You probably are not energized or like making snap decisions, kind of figuring things out as you go. You prefer to figure it out ahead of time, have some time to look at it, to decide, to figure things out. And that's where you work best. And you can communicate that to people around you. And that's where you can keep showing up and adding your value if you have the information, facts, figures, and time to process. The more stable and non-confrontational the environment, the happier a peacemaker will be. And there you're creating that friendly family team environment. And confrontation, even if there's disagreement or challenges that aren't necessarily negative, but either stronger communication or just disagreement, things like that, you'll be sensitive to that. You'll pick up on that. You can feel that is kind of an energy drain to you. And so if you find yourself in situations and environments where that is happening a lot, just know that you'll feel like drained mentally, emotionally, and ultimately physically. And so you may have to be aware and say, what can we shift? How do I have to change some things? Being in these environments all the time is really wearing you out. And then you don't have the energy to actually bring what you bring best, right? Because you end up almost more surviving. And we'll talk about that a little bit more later. An encourager to others, Tina promotes involvement in the decision-making process and prefers to work in a team role. Others tend to see them as agreeable and humble, and that's awesome. So you create an agreeable environment. You like to be agreeable, as well as when decisions are being made, you make sure that other voices are heard, that other people are taken into account, that you're viewing kind of everything as a bigger picture, everybody involved, different situations. And that's amazing that you're making sure there's a voice for different sides, different people, different groups into that space, whatever it looks like, whether it's a family. I don't know what environment you took this assessment in, but you'll see it plays through all your different areas of life. So whether it's family or work or whatever, you're making sure the voices are heard in the decision-making process. A realist who will always weigh options before making a decision to move ahead. Tina thinks through alternatives and choices carefully. And so, that realist approach, which helps balance out the ideas, right? We need both. We need the ideas, we need the quick to action, but we also need the realist who's seeing and bringing those together. And so that's amazing. Taking your time to work through the decisions, of course, we talked about that. And you'll look at the alternatives and choices and take everything into consideration. Where some people are wired, they don't really see all the options. They just go for one thing they see. You're able to look at multiple things and then make a choice from that or choose a good way. A team player, Tina readily relinquishes personal interests and goals to accommodate others. And so you're looking, to help, to serve, to support other people, to, helping is going to be amazing for you. If people say, well, why do you help so much? Well, that's something that's energizing for you. Now, you probably find sometimes in life that people begin to take advantage of that sometimes and don't do their share because they know you're always willing to help. And then you begin to feel worn out and taken advantage of. So just be aware, like it can be harder for your style to create boundaries, but you may have to put some boundaries in and say, all right, I've given too much, but I'm the one doing all the work or most of the work. You're taking advantage of me. And, saying no sometimes here and there to not being able to be there for people or help people out all the time is not, you're not letting them down and destroying them. You'll be sensitive to that because you like to help and build those relationships, but it's okay to say no sometimes and to make some choices for Tina. Like, hey, I need a day off, or I need a vacation for myself, or, I need to do something for me, which is not your natural approach all of the time, but sometimes you do need to re-energize, refresh yourself. And so be aware of that. But you have that amazing, focus on other people and supporting and helping there. Systematic and detailed, Tina focuses on processes. Others see the individual as practical and logical. And there again, you can see that systematic approach, the process, how things can be done, what the flow looks like, what works together well. And Tina likes to clarify expectations before undertaking new projects. And so it's important for you to meet expectations to be able to achieve results or the goal that is being, looking to be met. And so you like to clarify the expectations. You like to know the expectations up front before you commit to something, before you agree to it, because you work really hard to meet those standards and go even above and beyond. And so that's one of your approaches there, which is amazing. Awesome. Some goals that are motivating for you is security, right? Building security, making things secure, especially for the future, and correct procedures, because you like to make sure things are done correctly. And if there's a procedure or something in place, that means that it can be replicated. And so that's motivating for you to operate or to work towards, operate in or work towards. Some of your value to the team is quality and correctness oriented. So you'll make sure there's quality results, things are done with quality and done correctly. You're dependable, you'll be there. You won't say you'll be there and then not. You'll be there on time. You'll do the same high quality work, all those good things, and then consistent, right? You will continue to show up and help push through and accomplish what needs to be done. Some of the things we just want to highlight here now in this section is called the greatest fears. We don't always like to talk about fears, but the reason I make you aware of this is when these areas are touched, we can have a feeling, we can have kind of a reaction internally, externally, and this helps you to identify, hey, why am I feeling this way? What must I do or decide now to have the best results for me, for this situation, for the people involved? And so you'll find if these fears are touched, you'll have this feeling, this frustration. If it's happening here or there, either by people or by a situation, you can say, hey, I can realize what's happening. I can lean into my strength. I can do some things differently, make some choices that will work out the best for everybody, and we'll get through it. But if you find yourself constantly in places where these areas are hit, you'll find that drain, that energy drain, that emotional drain, that physical drain, mental drain. And so again, you end up being in a place where you're almost surviving because you're trying, it's conflicting all the time with kind of how you're wired and what you bring. So one of the fears is abandonment, right? Because you bring this belonging to people and this connection. And so, you'll be sensitive to, hey, is there separation in this relationship, whether it's a work relationship, family, whatever, and just being aware, are you feeling like someone's being abandoned, or you're being abandoned? Again, is it real or is it not, right? Is it really happening? And how are you going to approach it? Or is it just a feeling, right? Antagonism, that conflict. Is this a moment of conflict you can manage? You'll get through it, realizing, hey, I'm sensitive to conflict, to antagonism, but we'll get through this situation. There's a struggle at work, whatever. We'll get it worked out. It may not even involve you, but you're around it. It'll get worked out and we'll be able to move forward. But if it's like the work environment's constantly antagonistic, people are fighting, backbiting, that's where you would say, hey, now I bring that unity, I bring that teamwork. This antagonism, this conflict doesn't work well for me. Maybe I need to find another place to be involved, right? And lots of security. And again, because you stabilize and secure things, when there's a lot of change and disruption, you'll be sensitive to that. And when there's not clarity on what's expected, on how things are going to be done, you'll feel that loss of security. And so maybe you could ask some questions, get some clarity to be more secure. Again, if you're involved in environments that are always changing, the way you do things are constantly changing, then you might want to say, hey, I'm always going to feel in this like survival mode. Maybe I need to change things up and go somewhere that's going to be more stable, have some more routines and processes that we can work with, like that. And being criticized, right? Because you're working hard to do things correctly and right. And so when there's a lot of criticism, you'll be, you can be sensitive to that as well. So just beware. Again, that's just to help you manage your awesomeness in that space, to lean into your strength rather than react and like, well, I don't want to be involved in this because I don't know all the how-to here. Well, maybe this one time or these 2 times, be involved in something that's a little more, that's new or up and coming, because you could have a different experience, which could be an open door for something amazing for you. But living in that space wouldn't be ideal, right? Where there's things constantly changing, new all the time. So some of your values to the group, I'm just going to highlight a couple. There's so much here of your greatness. So a good listener, patient and empathetic. You can connect. You can feel what other people are feeling. That's amazing. You don't have to own what everybody's feeling, though, but you have this ability to connect and cause people to feel safe. You'll follow a task through from start to finish. Awesome, that completion piece. Some of the positive characteristics in group: participative manager who accomplishes goals through personal relationships. And so you won't just tell people what to do. No, you'll work alongside together. You'll do things together, and you'll accomplish goals by your relational equity, right? By the connection with people, rather than force, drive, which are some people's strengths, but you'll do it relationally in that personal aspect. You make others feel like they belong. Amazing. Provide specialized skills. So you won't just be a generalist. You'll bring some specialized skill set. You'll learn some things, research some things, which is awesome. Intuitive about people and relationships. So you'll have this great ability to have that intuition about people, relationships, situations in that aspect, knowing what's going on, or what's going on between people or with someone. You'll pick up on it. You'll feel it. You'll process through that, which is awesome. And you consider elements of a total project, right? You can see all the pieces that are in play. You have that ability. So that's also amazing. Dropping down here to the power dish section. So in leadership, these are areas that the areas that are high, they take the least amount of energy for you to operate in. And I always recommend with people that the areas you're low in, because they're going to take a lot of energy for you to focus on that and not be energizing for you, more of an energy drain. It's better to, the same with the rest of your personality style, connect with people who are higher in those areas and strong in those areas. So influencing, kind of that cold calling, reaching out to people, it's not so high for you. So that's better to have someone else out there initiating this broader scope of relationships, right? And then you come in with what you do best and what energizes you. And so some of that here is processing. That's something that's high for you. And, you're able to see the process, to work through the process, and to make sure that things are followed through, that there's not just, random things here and there, that there's a process and flow, which is awesome. Detailing is also high. You get the facts and figures. You can make sure things are, right and accurate. You see potential limitations that can be avoided. There's all this, the details will not be missed with you around. So that's awesome. Creating. So you can have this creative approach where you can bring in different abilities. You can develop some basic concepts or perfect the basic concepts that people have brought out. And so that's awesome that you have this ability to create there. Persisting. You know, others, it says others like working together with you because you typically do more than your share. So you're able to persist, to follow through until there's completion, until goals reached. You won't give up along the way. And so that's awesome. And then relating, you're naturally friendly and caring individual who is very approachable. And so you have this side where you are able to relate easily and you know, strongly with people as well. And so that's awesome. And then just in closing here, I want to pull you to the graphs and just make you aware of something. The first one is how you feel the environment or the people in the environment want or need you to be. The second one is under pressure or stress, how you tend to show up. And the third one is how you see yourself. And when there's changes between any of these, there can, you know, you can be left wondering, well, why am I like this sometimes? Or there can be some frustration coming into play, maybe even some stress, like what's going on. And so I just want to highlight one thing here. As you can see in the first graph, whatever environment you took this in, you feel like they don't want that refiner side, you know, that excellence, that detail, the facts and figures, that it's not necessarily wanted or needed. And so what you're doing is you're trying to hold that side back, which is your natural approach and what you do well, along with the team, you know, connection based piece of who you are. And so that can cause, you know, that frustration, feeling like you can't be all of who you are, you can't be yourself. And so first of all, the question to ask is, in the environment that you took the assessment, whether work or family, is it true that they don't want me to, you know, bring that systematic fact, you know, accurate approach to things? If it's true, you know, could you talk to them and begin to show them how, when you come with all your strengths and who you are, how it'll be so much better for the situation and everybody involved? If it's, you know, not actually true that that's what's being requested or required or wanted from you, can you begin to show up, you know, just more in your natural style and be a little more factual and figure focused and bring that excellence? So again, just looking, you're saying you're feeling like, hey, this environment or the people here don't want that side of me. Well, is it real? Is it perceived? Or is it real? And if it's perceived, can you just begin to change it and show up with it? If it's real, can you make some adjustments there? Because, you know, when you do what you do best, you'll be energized. When you are that relational, finishing what is started, bringing excellence, the facts and figures, operating in a process, seeing a process, all that, you'll be energized when you do those things. But if you're holding back, you'll feel an energy drain there. And so doing what you do best will equal the best for you and everyone involved. So again, Tina, you are amazing, awesome. Your style is incredible. And, you know, you're bringing so much greatness and value to the people in the world around you. Keep showing up. And if you have any thoughts or questions, feel free to let us know. So enjoy.